Hello again everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now when I did my video on the Saxon shore, the more eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have noticed that I used this map. Now on this map you'll notice that Britannia is not actually part of the Roman Empire. That's because in the crisis of the 3rd century, the Roman Empire didn't just stumble, it cracked apart. And one of these parts? The Gallic Empire. The Gallic Empire lasted for 14 years, from 260 to 274 AD, and at its height it included all of Gaul, Hispania, Britannia, and the Roman-controlled areas of Germania. It existed as a result of the crisis of the 3rd century, a time of great turmoil within the Roman Empire. It's a truly fascinating subject, but it's not one that I think is talked about often enough. So I thought I would take the opportunity to enlighten some of you as to what this empire that Britain was part of for nearly 15 years actually was. It all begins with a Roman general called Postumus, governor of Germania Superior and Inferior, with overall command over the Rhine frontier. In 260 AD he successfully defended the frontier against an invading Frankish army, and he defeated them so successfully that there wasn't another Germanic invasion of Roman territory for 10 years. And this act solidified him as one of the most powerful men in the western half of the Roman Empire. Meanwhile, the Roman Emperor Gallienus left his son Saturninus and the Praetorian prefect in Cologne to keep an eye on Postumus, because Gallienus was all too aware of Postumus's ambition. However, Postumus had Saturninus and the Praetorian prefect murdered, and he came out in full-blown revolt. Postumus made himself emperor, and even set about making parallel Roman institutions, including a senate, a consulship and a Praetorian guard. Thus, the Gallic Empire was born, and he even managed to see off an invasion from Gallienus to try and retake the provinces in 263 AD, firmly securing the Gallic Empire in the west. Postumus ruled until 269 AD, when he refused to allow his soldiers to sack the city of Mainz, following a rebellion by a man called Laelianus. The soldiers were so enraged with the concept of not being able to butcher their fellow citizens that they murdered Postumus and put a man called Marius in his place, the second Gallic emperor, probably because he allowed them to sack the city. Marius, however, only lasted a few months, with the most extreme sources saying he only lasted a couple of days, but this is very unlikely considering the number of coins that are attributed to him. He was murdered by a man called Victorinus, who became the 3rd Gallic emperor, recognised in northern Gaul and in Britain. Southern Gaul had been reconquered by Gallienus' successor Claudius Gothicus, who probably also took Hispania, because that would explain why Hispania didn't recognise Victorinus as Gallic emperor. Victorinus tried to take back this lost territory, but he failed, and surprise surprise, he was assassinated in 271 AD, likely through a mutiny. This led his mother, a woman by the name of Victoria, to take control of his army and install a man called Tetricus into the position of Gallic Emperor, the last man to hold the title. Despite facing a lot of internal struggles, Tetricus did manage to take back a lot of the lost territory in Gaul, an impressive feat considering he was also facing a rebellion from a man called Faustinus. However, in 274 AD, the writing was very much on the wall for the Gallic Empire. Fresh off his defeat of the Palmyrene Empire, another splinter empire of the 3rd century, Emperor Aurelian, Gothicus' successor, marched an army west and defeated Tetricus at the Battle of Chalons. This formally ended the Gallic Empire and brought the provinces back into the Roman fold. Some sources claim that Tetricus conspired with Aurelian to surrender to ensure his family's safety, but whether true or not, the Gallic Empire was gone, But the idea of a separate Western Empire would return. But where was Britannia in all of this? Well, Britannia wasn't just a bystander, it was an active member of the Gallic Empire. But why? Well, firstly, geography. Naturally, Britannia looked towards Gaul for anything that it needed, rather than to Rome itself. And secondly, loyalty. A lot of the soldiers in Britain will have been loyal to Postumus, or to soldiers on the Rhine frontier. And the fact is that Britain decided to stay as part of the Gallic Empire, even as it was crumbling apart, and only became part of the Roman Empire once more after Aurelian won the Battle of Chalons. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Gallic Empire. The fact that Britannia was part of a separate empire for 14 years in the 3rd century is something that I find utterly astonishing, just as astonishing as the fact that not a lot of people seem to know about it. But thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, it helps immensely, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao for now.